Why on earth does it seem like almost every player in the World Cup is wearing pink boots? If you're anything like me, you've been watching matches and maybe thinking, all the top players, Mbappé, Harry Kane, Jude, Bellingham, Vinícius, Júnior, all the top stars, the biggest stars, they all seem to have one thing in common. They're all wearing bright pink boots. So is this coincidence? Is it a fashion trend? Clever marketing? Well, it can't be clever marketing. The idea in marketing is to make your brand stand out. To stand out means to be easily noticed. Pink boots stand out against the green grass, for instance. But if everyone's wearing them, well, it sort of defeats the object. So we're going to try and find out what's behind all of this. You could say her presentation stood out because it was so creative, for instance. That's to stand out, or an idiom, to steal the show. If something or someone steals the show, it means it attracts the most attention. At this World Cup, pink boots have definitely stolen the show. So you're learning English while learning about the world. That's what we do here. This is Listen Global English, the podcast that helps you improve your English while exploring the world's biggest stories. I'm Gary, I'm British. I've lived and taught English here in Colombia since 2010, 16 years. Major companies, government departments, etc., throughout Colombia, South America, and around the world. And today, we're asking, just how did hot pink become the unofficial colour of the World Cup? Now, the story goes like this. This is one of the most unexpected stories of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It's not about goals or referees or upsets. It's about colour, specifically hot pink. Across the stadiums in the United States, Canada and Mexico, all three are hosting parts of this World Cup. Dozens of players have appeared wearing bright pink football boots. The trend has become so widespread that many fans have begun asking why so many stars have chosen the same colour. The answer appears to be a combination of marketing, psychology, visibility and fashion. The major sports brands like Nike, some people say Nike, some say Nike, Adidas, Puma, New Balance and Skechers, they all released pink-themed boot collections ahead of the tournament. They obviously didn't speak to each other, because each of these companies believed that their bright colours would attract attention, increase visibility on television screens, and help players feel more confident. According to executives from several of these companies, athletes often associate bright colours with confidence and self-expression. Pink, in particular, stands out dramatically against the green grass of a football pitch, making players easier to spot both in stadiums and on television broadcasts. That's the idea. I don't suppose that works when everyone's wearing the same colour. And among the stars wearing the pink boots, we have Kylian Mbappé, Cristiano Ronaldo, Erling Haaland, Jude Bellingham, Lamine Yamal, and Vinícius Júnior and Harry Kane. It goes on and on and on. It's a little ironic, really, because almost every major manufacturer adopted pink, the colour that was intended to make their players stand out. This has ended up making many players look remarkably similar. Now, these brightly coloured football boots are actually a relatively recent phenomenon. For decades, football boots were almost exclusively black or black and white. If you look at photographs from the World Cups of the 50s, the 60s, much of the 70s, nearly every player wore plain black leather boots actually. The shift began during the late 20th century as these sportswear companies realized that footballers could become global marketing icons. Could is a possibility. They could become global marketing icons. So in many ways, today's colorful boots are similar to the brightly colored tennis outfits worn by people like Agassi in the 90s, or even the flashy kits, uniforms introduced into professional basketball during the Michael Jordan era. Sport has increasingly become entertainment as well as competition. So when you see the word visibility, they are talking about how easily something can be seen. As an example, as you've heard, pink boots improve visibility on television. Self-expression. They talk about self-expression. This just refers to showing your personality or your feelings or identity. Self-expression. Fashion is often a form of self-expression. A trend is something that becomes fashionable or popular. Pink has become a major trend at this World Cup. And when they talk about their brand, companies are talking about their name associated with their particular products. Nike or Nike and Adidas or Adidas are global sports brands. You heard me say the word icon. An icon is just a famous person who strongly represents something in any field, any sector. Many footballers become global sporting icons. And the phrasal verbs you hear around this subject, as I say, to stand out, it's just to be easily noticed. Pink boots stand out on the pitch. To catch on is to become popular. The pink boot trend quickly caught on among players. It quickly became popular. So several companies came out with pink boot collections before the tournament. To come out with something means to release or introduce a new product. These companies obviously thought they were coming up with something means to introduce a concept. So these marketing companies, these brands, they obviously thought they were coming up with something unique, when in fact several companies came out with pink boot collections before the tournament. To steal the show, to attract the most attention. As I said earlier, pink boots have stolen the show at this World Cup. I'm reading an article now. As I'm recording this, I'm reading an article. That's frequently what I do in these podcasts. And they're talking about painting the town red. Painting the town red is another way of explaining that you are celebrating enthusiastically. It says here, fans painted the town red after the team qualified. Painted the town red. They celebrated extremely enthusiastically last night. To change the game, when you hear this is to completely transform a situation. You could say brightly colored boots have changed the game in sports marketing. As in any subject, there are different perspectives here. Supporters of these colorful boots, they say they make the sport more exciting. They allow players to express their individuality. I'm not too sure on that if everyone's wearing the same color, but there you go. They improve visibility for fans watching on small screens, maybe, and help players build their personal brands Again, I don't really see how that's achieving anything if everybody is wearing the same colour. There's nothing individual about everyone having the same colour. It's like everybody having the same tattoo. There's nothing individual about that. Others, they say football has always evolved, and fashion is simply another example. Then you have the critics. Lots of traditional fans prefer the old days. They're not too happy about these water breaks that we have now, or dehydration breaks they call them, where after 20 minutes there's a break in play for players to receive water, which is obviously a good thing for health reasons, but it's changing the game, and traditional fans prefer the old days. They argue that football is becoming too commercial. Excessive branding distracts from the sport itself, and that modern players sometimes focus too much on image. Lots of people nostalgically remember the era when almost everyone wore simple black boots. There are historical comparisons here. This isn't the first time fashion has transformed sport. When Muhammad Ali entered the boxing ring wearing distinctive robes, bright robes, and using memorable phrases, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, the critics said he was turning sport into entertainment, which seems strange now. We accept that, but, at the beginning of Muhammad Ali's career, this was a criticism. Similarly, when women's football stars, Megan Rapinoe, I think it was, and others, Abby Wambach, they used fashion and personal style to express themselves. They helped redefine what athletes could represent beyond the playing field. And I suppose in many ways today's pink boots continue that tradition. Now, this story provides a real opportunity to compare two tenses, present perfect versus past simple. With the present perfect, we use the present perfect to describe recent developments connected to the present. Pink boots have become the unofficial colour of the World Cup. Many players have adopted the trend. The focus is not on when in the past, but recently, or the fact that it's having an impact on the present. It started in the past, but it's relevant now. The past simple. We use the past simple for completed actions in the past. When you see headlines like sports companies released their new boot collections earlier this year, it happened, it's done. Footballers wore mostly black boots for decades. That's the past simple. So I suppose there are many, many discussion questions around this subject. Why do you think pink boots have become so popular? People are asking, should professional athletes use fashion to express themselves? Has sport become too commercial? That question isn't asked solely because of the pink boots, but it's a very common question today. Has sport become too commercial? Do these colours make sport more entertaining? And finally, a few final thoughts. Long after the final whistle of the 2026 World Cup, many people may remember not only the goals, the incidents, the trophies, but maybe one unexpected winner, hot pink. Whether you love them or you hate them, you'll often hear whether you love them or loathe them. Whether you love them, loathe them, or hate them, pink boots demonstrate how sport, fashion, marketing, and culture are increasingly interconnected today. Once you've noticed these pink boots, you can't really unsee them. Thank you for listening to Listen Global English. If you've enjoyed today's episode, if you've learned a little bit that improves your English, follow the podcast, share the podcast. And until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep watching the World Cup. And keep moving your English forward. Bye-bye for now.